Charlie, this doesn't look like Cambridge.
When I was sent the script, I thought I'd be spending the next 7 years in Manhattan. But no, it's not the island, it's the project.
You're building an atomic bomb.
We prefer to call it a gadget.
The astonishing truth, which is stranger than fiction.
What this show taught me was, what was going on the inside.
Our work is so classified, the vice president doesn't know we exist.
And that's one of the great joys of being an actor, is you get to go back to school.
When we got there, they took us on a tour of Los Alamos. We met some scientists, and I can now build my own nuclear bomb if I had to.
What was it like to be the science team at Los Alamos? What was it like to be a kid growing up in this town, this bizarro Twilight Zone world of secrecy?
Within the confines of these fences, technically you're nowhere, talking to no one.
Being in a place where secrecy is paramount, but privacy really means nothing. It can destroy your mind.
All these people were dragged out of their lives and dropped in the middle of a desert, which Tommy and Sam depicted quite nicely.
I made a commitment. It is done. We're here till the end of the war.
Our intention is to make a very contemporary show that explores human beings now and our interactions with each other.
I wrote the first draft of the first episode of Manhattan years ago, and it actually began as a totally different show set in the present day about the War on Terror. I realized that it was going to be very hard to write about current events with any kind of moral objectivity.
Yes, that's why they call it the fog of war.
The story of the birth of the atomic bomb is also very much the story of the birth of the country that we live in now and the culture that we're reckoning with. And this town that was built to basically facilitate the invention of the weapon, but the vast majority of the people who lived there had no idea what the purpose of the town was.
I understand. There's some kind of crisis at work.
You have no idea.
What does it do to a marriage? What does it do to a society? Is it the island mentality? You put a group of people into a small space and watch to see what happens.
And that, to me, it suggested such a complicated network of relationships that I knew it was something that I kind of had to write about. It was my good fortune to be put in touch with Tommy Schlamme. He's one of the great storytellers the medium of TV has produced.
We immediately just partnered up. Sam was very clear of the stories that he wanted to tell and the progression of how this would be a series.
If it works, we won't just end this war. We'll end all war.
The amount of reading that the writers did would have drawn them to a few stories and characters that accumulated to become our 10 characters. Charlie's definitely not based on any one man. He's fueled by the stories of that time.
From the beginning, the creative choice was to populate a world that was as carefully researched and as factually accurate as it could be with fictional characters, so we could tell fictional stories about their interior lives.
One of the reasons that I love television so much is the element of evolution that exists in television. We knew at the end of the season what was going to happen between Thin Man and Implosion, but all the little intricacies of the way that people relate and what's really happening to their lives evolved.
You can grow old and die writing white papers on field quantization, or you can join my team and you can watch the apple fall with Newton.
We have an incredible cast, and it took a while to find them and to sort of put this dream team together.
People who we really believed could sort of consume this material and bring it to life in a certain way.
John Benjamin Hickey was one of the very early names that we talked about.
I had never come across somebody who was so brilliant at his job with such a terrible bedside manner.
Get home safe.
I found that character so fascinating and the greatest compartmentalizer I'd ever read on paper.
John has taught me a great deal about who Frank is. He has such depth and a sense of the cost and the burden of this work that he's involved with.
I made sacrifices for this project you couldn't possibly fathom.
It's hard to think of anyone else playing Frank. It's hard to think of anyone else playing any of these roles.
No!
Whatever it is, Frank, you can tell me.
I wrote this role with Olivia in mind.
I don't want Liza to be predictable either as an adoring wife or as a trenchant feminist. I want her to be compassionate, and I think it's partly compassion that drives her to investigate what's going on.
Wonder who they're gonna murder today.
The whole thing is horrible.
Rachel was the second person I read before we even started, and she was so right.
Initially, when I read the script, I wanted to play Helen really, really badly. And now, obviously, I'm totally in love with Abby. She is the coolest character, and her journey has been incredible, and I'm so thrilled with where it's gone.
In some ways, she's the person who is the greatest fish out of water in the world of Los Alamos.
Abby, what the hell did you do to Joey's hair?
Children have head lice, and they are eating our mail.
And yet, Rachel has such presence and life in every moment that she plays. She is impossible not to love.
I'm going home, Charlie.
The Army won't allow it.
I looked into it. There's one way that they will.
What way?
If we're divorced.
Charlie was the hardest role to cast. This was all about the older gunslinger and the new gunslinger that comes to town, and that sort of was the momentum of season 1.
Ash Zuckerman had this incredible quality of a mix of a kind of hopeful youth about him, and also something really complicated and dark as well.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Right now we have to figure out a way to keep you safe.
Reed is a metaphor. I mean, he's an allegory of a scientist of that time who was destroyed by a lie and who was destroyed ultimately by building a weapon of mass destruction as well.
If we fumble this ball, we won't be looking at delays. The game will be over. Glenn?
Danny Stern plays Babbitt. Babbitt, in a way, is the closest thing that Frank has to conscience. Danny came in and he had this like incredible beard, and there's a sort of mad genius quality to it. And there was such sort of depth to the way that he played the relationship with Frank.
Maybe other actors work different, but my history, where I've been is important. Where I'm going is unknown, and probably better for me to not know.
Shall we begin? The point of Occam was that we didn't really know what his department was. The mystery was important, I think, because it created an intangible sense of danger.
Is your boss in? I have some questions for Dr. Winter.
Do I know you?
Meeks is a guy who, in the world of our show, harbors a huge secret.
Things have changed.
They're changing everywhere.
Implosion is taking center stage.
It was one of those things that Sam did that was a really smart thing. It helped Chris all the way through, and I think he was a sophisticated enough actor.
There were deep personal seeds for his betrayal that the writers have planted so smartly.
Helen Prince?
Yes?
Gather your personal items, ma'am.
When we were casting Helen, and we read so many Helens, Katya came in, read really great. She was so clear, and I went, cast her right away. There's an energy here that, especially in a world all of men, that I get this incredible combination of this kind of unique, weird, strange, very powerful energy, and she's beautiful.
And she has this great speech to Charlie when they sit at the bar, and she says something about how this is her time.
For however long the war lasts, I get to do what I love.
I immediately started thinking about, you know, women in that time.
You want me to sleep with they're all whores? They're capitalists. It's basic economics, supply and demand.
I took econ at Cornell. This definitely wasn't on the syllabus.
Michael Chernus, I think he's like one of the great comic actors working today. But he also is like a great dramatic actor. There's something really heartbreaking that he brings to that role. It slays me when I watch those scenes.
You have to bring levity to a rather heavy, harrowing situation, but you could feel that there was more than meets the eye to these characters. And you have a sense that there's this whole history underneath the surface.
Don't walk out that door!
I thought the characters were all really well drawn and really interesting. You have a bunch of guys working on a weapon to, like, destroy the world. I mean, after the invention of the atom bomb, I don't think the world is the same.
100 American kids have been buried since the last time we walked through that gate. By tomorrow morning, there'll be 100 more. And you want me to slow down? Of course.
Brosnahan.
We have a lot of ideas about what World War II stories are supposed to look like, what they sound like, what they feel like. But it was really important to me, and I think to Tommy too, that this show feel a little different. There is something so peculiar about what life must have been like for people in this sort of cross between a prison camp and a university campus.
This entire hill was built on secrets, Frank. They're traded around like ration stamps.
Giving the show a sense that you never quite know who you can trust or what you can trust. That felt really important, and it certainly translated into the way it was scored by Yonsi and Alex. That is eerie and beautiful and peculiar and modern and doesn't quite feel like the score you expect from a period drama. All of that was really, really important to us.
It's such a complicated world, and it took all of us a long time to figure out like what it was for these people. And what's great about the show is that I feel like we're figuring it out as they are.
The moral conundrum that these characters find themselves in, I think they just got up and kept going to work. I don't think any of them thought maybe that bomb wouldn't be or shouldn't be dropped, but tell that to the mothers who all got to see their boys come home because we ended the war.
American war dead as of this morning.
There are moralists among us, Charlie Isaacs being one of them, and he tells in the first episode the story of the Golem.
First, the Golem kills the enemies of the Jews, then it turns on the Jews themselves. So you couldn't control it. He'd built Frankenstein's monster.
What's important is to understand the emotional question of what is it like coming to your dream job and finding out it's a job that will destroy every moral line that you've put up. Those were the questions that Tommy and Sam helped us form, and that's the show.
This story is kind of a great American origin myth. This is the story of the opening of this atomic Pandora's box that we're reckoning with now. I mean, we live in an era in which weapons of mass destruction are not an abstract idea. What we set out to do was to try to dramatize a lot of different and contradictory points of view and hope that the viewer can come to his or her own decision about it.
I think great television can stir you emotionally, psychologically, and I think one of the things you see in this origin story is the beginning of the modern world as we know it.
We cherish life. It's in our nature. Unfortunately, our enemies do not. Doubt is a luxury we cannot afford.
There's an aspect to Charlie's journey, which is that he comes to this amazing place and he gets to work with giants of his industry, people he's looked up to for so long, and that's what I got to do.
I love acting. It's action and reaction and drama and humor and having a bunch of other actors and directors and creative people around you who enjoy the same thing.
It's been very wonderful to be part of something that feels so relevant and important.
I mean, I'm incredibly honored to be representing one branch of, I think, a lot of different kinds of women who arrived there.
I mean, so incredibly proud of the show that we made.
To be able to write so many characters, so many issues, personal, political, military, the Nazis, the Native Americans. I mean, Sam is just an epic novelist.
It's been the gift of a career to be able to work on a show that's been such a labor of love for me for so long with this incredible crew. I feel like we've sort of just begun to tell the stories that I think are inherent in this world and the kind of complicated set of relationships between the characters.
I loved making it, and the love of science was the same thing, and the love of, truthfully, of war and combat. And I do think season 2 is completely that discussion. No longer is it, can we make a bomb? Season 2 is, we can make the bomb.